back and talking about soils. Such an amazing topic to study, as it is a living and functioning environment when thriving and thriving well. Most of our farms and most of our conditions that we grow, that are grown in the soil, is grown in dead soil. Soil that has been polluted heavily with all kinds of pesticides and chemicals that have destroyed the living organisms of the soil. So we're going to investigate this with the FBI. F standing for fungal, B, bacteria, and I, the invertebrates. The FBI are the ones that we want to expand and grow in our soil so that we can see more of this development, of this richness, of this life that provides life. So come on with me and let's learn about soils.
One of the things that I love is this is a beautiful service for the planet, especially in the times of climate crisis that we're in, because what we're doing is not just cycling nutrients, but we're actually sequestering carbon. And I think that that is a critical act, and I put that first and foremost in any of our permaculture activities. So I'll show you guys what the finished product looks like that's down here. Our biggest problem with the composting is the education and the human element, right? Because not everybody knows what composting is. We have people coming from around the world. We have people that just have never had a culture of considering composting. They don't even know what is and what isn't compostable. They couldn't tell the difference between a piece of plastic and a piece of paper and say, well, one is compostable, one is not. So we have to deal with that. And then, people just don't necessarily always care. So we've got to get people to care. And this is compost. That's some beautiful compost soil. Nice finished product. Oh, smells super rich. You guys want to smell?
Yeah.
What you see here is there's elephant grass mulch on the bottom. It was put on here a few months ago. That's on the bottom. And on the top is whole young weed trees from over here. There's a forest of weed trees there. This has all been cut and put on here. And then over the other side, it's been cut and put on there. So this creates several things. It creates a sort of lattice work for the weeds to grow on, the hono and the glycine, which creates a kind of like a shade over the whole thing. And as more and more sticks get put on every year, it builds up a beautiful ecosystem in there, where it's shady, but it's dark down the bottom, cool. This is new. These were only planted 11 months ago.
Okay.
But
they're growing great. 11 months. Wow. 11 months are going really great.
Really? Oh yeah, they've been pampered.
Yeah.
They get a ground up fish fertilizer too, from Oahu. But that's all they got. But anyway, so this over the years, as you keep putting on the sticks and the weeds grow over it again, it starts to create a really balanced ecosystem of microorganisms, because the habitat is perfect. It's ambient temperature down at the bottom, and the sun never shines in there. Here it is now, but it's getting pretty good in there. But as it goes on, it gets way better.
Yeah.
So you got moisture retention, you got habitat for all the microorganisms, the bacteria and the fungi, especially the fungi.
And you don't even mind that the weeds are growing over it?
No, I want them to grow over it, because you're looking at something that's fairly new. We only put these sticks on a few weeks ago. And you come here in 2 or 3 months and the greenery is going to be solid over it. And then when we put more sticks on and more greenery, then you really get a shade. That's what I want.
Right.
So the sun's not getting down in there. And then the microorganisms build up.
Right.
Because they really like
More
that.
active.
Yeah, and like I said, especially the fungi. What's missing in most modern conventional chemical agriculture is beneficial fungi. Because bacteria are more tolerant of it. they all deal with bare soil better than the fungi will. And the fungi need what they call lignified material, which is brittle sticks, tough stick material.
Yep.
So this gradually builds up a very beneficial population of the good guy fungi. And so when it's cut, all the roots die, and it regrows a shoot and makes new roots, which is why it's just a wonderful soil builder. All the tall grasses build soil mainly by what they call root cycling. The American prairie, when they run over by 1 million buffalo, eaten and trampled, and the grasses are, like 6-7 foot, the 6 foot high tall grasses on the prairie. Then once that's all eaten and trampled and pooped on and peed on, then all those roots die in the soil.
Right.
And it makes a new shoot and new roots. So that huge amount of prairie soil was built mainly from root cycling. So, and that's what this does too. Is this 3 to 4 inches of elephant grass soil built up over 19 years. There's a lot of reasons, about 5 distinct reasons to use mulch, and one of those reasons dictates the amount you use, because we want to maintain temperature control on the soil, we want moisture retention, we want habitat for the life, we want soil nutrients, and then weed control, right? So the thing that determines how much you use is weed control, because you need more thickness for weed control than you do for all the others. You can get away with a thinner layer of mulch for all those other reasons, but not for weed control. So therefore the land really benefits when you have enough. So we start getting down into the darker stuff that's beginning to break down, and I'm still going down through that. And here's the soil right now. So, you got that much.
Fantastic.
And it's such a wonderful combination of the elephant grass of greenery that breaks down quickly and cellulose inside the shell that breaks down more slowly, and then this lignified, waxy, shiny outer shell of it that resists breaking down, and eventually it's the beneficial fungi that break this down. The pathogenic fungi don't like lignin. They can't deal with it. So if you have a lot of lignin, you get a lot of beneficial fungi, and that suppresses the pathogens.
Okay, so here we are with a whole bunch of bananas, and below them is the foundation. Remember, your soil is your foundation, and these babies are pumping out like crazy because of the soil. Check it out. Look at this deliciousness, this dark, rich, cake-like substrate. You squeeze it, it holds. This is a good example of what excellent soil should look like, and it has the capacity to hold billions of life forces, microorganisms, living soil. This is what it's all about. Yeah, love it. When you can go out in your backyard and see this kind of a soil, there's very little times you're going to complain about plants not growing well or not having good health, because your soil, your foundation shows that you're doing good. So consider this your black gold. Consider this the means by which you're going to grow everything you need to grow. And if you're growing all your food well, healthfully, vibrantly, with live soil, you got live soil, you got live healthy plants. You got live healthy plants, you got a live healthy food source to create live and healthy bodies. All right, so let's get healthy. Okay, let's see what this soil looks like. This is mostly a mineral soil, and it has Definitely some silt content. You can see how it's kind of slick, so it might have some clay as well. You can easily test if it's clay if I just add more water to it, because it's quite dry now. But normally add lots of water to it and see if it bends. And if it bends, you know you got some good clay content. It's mixed in with some composting for sure. But it's mostly just soil. I like it. Lots of compost to work with. Wow. Is that right? Buster? That's a raw material. You can smell it. It smells like, yep. So you just need some carbon and then it'll make it a lot better. For sure.
Yeah, right. You know, not only does it fix nitrogen, but it really does create a nice fracture in whatever loose rock we have. So a lot of times we'll plant the pigeon pea, and then in the preceding years we will come back and plant in our fruit trees or other root crops. So this area started off as hugelkultur, has the nitrogen fixers in it now, mixed in with a few of these fruit trees, and then eventually it'll become sweet potato beds or our zone 1 terracing.
Yeah, very little pests or bug bites here, you know. And when you see like this single row of crops, you gotta wonder, how are they taking care of it? How is it being managed? It is very normal to have, you know, 20-30% of crop loss with organic and even non-organic growth of plants. And so I never worry about too much bites. As a matter of fact, you know, in some countries in Asia, like Japan, they some of the cultures there actually like seeing a whole lot of bites, because then it means that, you know, if the bugs are eating it very well, then it's a very healthy plant, or it's a good plant to consume. So, you know, changing our mindset about how things grow, why they grow, how much yields we're looking for. All these things begin to help us, you know, shift the way that we relate to our food. So I'd like to look at some of the soil here. Yeah, this is very chocolate mocha brown. Like, what a beautiful looking soil. It might just be no bites because everything is growing great and has all the nutrients it needs. And I mean, yeah, being on the island of Maui now in Hawaii, sure, things don't have too much problems. It just depends on where you're at and what's possible, right? And what you want to grow. So yeah, these are doing great. Cover crop. As you can see, it fully covers the ground. And when it's done, you cut it down, lay it down, start planting out all your plants. I recommend even more biomass actually than just what you see here. So consider growing biomass in another area, bring it over, lay it down so it's nice and thick, and then plant it out. You'll have less weeding, less watering needs, and excellent growth. Of course, you know, your soil is your foundation, and here at this beautiful biodynamic farm that Patrick is running, he has his lovely cow. This is Max, and they are producing a lot of nutrient, right? As you can see, he's covering the ground regularly with this straw, and they're in there filling up the straw and dropping in all their nutrients. And over the year, he'll get like a foot or two of just rich nutrients with lots of worms running through that. And with that kind of soil, you're going to get this kind of growth. Excellent plants that have a lot of life to them. Not just with the BD preps, which of course improves it dramatically, but also just the life of resiliency, that they have the plant hormones necessary to fend off any form of pest. And you get good growing plants, you get healthy plants. That's what it's about, right? So start with your foundation first. Make sure your soil is great, you have good nutrients, not too much, but the right amount and in the right way. Isn't that right, Max?
So you can see right here, like the about a foot depth of mulch here, and this has, you know, been built up over years and years of adding new mulch to the system, and then we'll actually just scrape away the top few inches, and you'll actually have very rich soil underneath. So our salad greens is part of our larger farm rotation. So for a field, it's about a 6-week turnaround until from seeding to weed whacking and tilling back in. So after we're finished harvesting, we'll weed whack it down, till it, we'll add compost to it, till it again, let it settle like for a few weeks, and then we'll actually probably do a couple more rounds of salad in the field, usually about 4 cycles of salad before we'll rotate it out into a different crop, which is, you know, a root crop, for example, you know, carrots and beets and radishes, or maybe it'll be a transplant field where we'll be planting leeks and fennel, kohlrabi, things like that. And all of our fields have about a 1-year cycle where they'll be being cropped for about 9 months of that 1 year. And then at the end of that, in the summer months when it's too hot to grow most vegetables, we'll actually go to heavy cover cropping. We'll put all our fields into cover crop and let them rest over the summer months to regain their vitality for the fall months and winter plantings.
Sprouting and a nice chunk of organic matter with actinomycetes and roots, bacterial fungal activity in connection in the soil food web, and then the growing radical coming from this cover crop seed where the cotyledons haven't quite emerged yet.
The soil that we're growing here isn't actually soil. It's an engineered medium, mostly for the weight. We have to do a very lightweight, easily drained, but also has some structure to it. So mostly what we have here in this layer, which is our growing medium on the top, is a lava rock and pumice, which makes up about 50%, and then the other 50% is the organic matter, which is, you know, high quality compost, some earthworm castings. We actually have a mix of biochar in here as well. And the biochar is really crucial in the sense that it's a stabilized carbon, and if we were on the ground, our biggest thing is we want to increase our soil organic matter, and that is the sponge of the soil. It's also what helps create some of that fertility in the soil. And up here, we actually can't build soil up. We can't continue to do cover cropping and turn it in and everything because we have that weight constraint. So the biochar is actually an incredible stabilized organic matter, and it's only at 10%, but it doesn't break down for, you know, decades. It also has an intense amount of porosity and surface area in which the microbes can live on, and same with the lava rock and same with the pumice.